guys. If you all look over here, to your left, you're going to see a limestone wall. Nothing too peculiar about that. We have limestone throughout this cavern, but we have put some arrows up here to point out a few things to you guys. Each arrow is pointing to a different fine line, and each fine line is the demarcation point for a different layer of strata. So what is strata? How's strata formed? Basically, a long time ago, there were actually oceans right here in this area. Kind of hard to believe. Louisville is not a beach destination, but it's true. Oceans were here. They left behind lots of deposits of mud, dirt, sand, and silt. Over time, that material got mixed together, hardened up, and left behind the limestone that you see here today. So if you look above your heads right now, what you're actually looking at is the bottom of an ocean floor. The miners did not have to grade this away or scrape it off. They just blasted it out in such a way to expose this bottom layer of strata. That's about a 4-foot layer of strata above us. After that, there's another layer of strata about 6 feet thick. After that, we're not sure how many strata layers there are total, but I can tell you there's 26 feet of hard limestone rock above us right now, and then after that 26 feet of rock, there is 50 feet of dirt. Then finally, you'll have the grass, the trees, and the buildings, and everything else up there. So in total, 76 feet of material above our heads right now, protecting us from pretty much anything down here. A tornado, for instance. We've had a lot of tornadic activity in the area lately. Libertyville, Kentucky got hit pretty hard. Also just north of us in Indiana, they've been hit as well. The sirens have been going off here in Louisville. Luckily, we haven't been hit directly. But if there was an F5 tornado outside the cavern at this very moment, and we were just a little bit deeper in this place, we would have no idea that was even going on. This is just about the safest place you could possibly be during a tornado. This is also the safest place you can be during a flood, or at least one of the safest. This cavern has only flooded once in its entire history, and that was in 1937. I don't know if you all are local to the area, but 1937 was our city's most famous weather disaster. We had a huge flood here, the 1937 flood. My grandparents still talk about it to this day. Went well above 18 feet above flood stage, which is where we're at right now, and that was the one and only time this cavern has ever flooded. If you all are just visiting Louisville, check out some of the older historical buildings in the downtown area. A lot of those still have the high water mark from that 1937 flood. Also, this is the safest place you can be during an earthquake. A lot of people can't quite understand that, but really it goes back to this horizontal strata I was talking about. These strata layers during an earthquake will actually rub up against each other and dampen the effects of any earthquake we may have. About 4 years ago here in Louisville, we did have a small tremor, nothing too serious, but if you were in downtown, which is located on a sheet of bedrock, you could definitely feel it. It was shaking pretty good. Some bricks even came off the buildings. Down here in the cavern, though, people were calling us. They thought that maybe we were in trouble. They wanted to know if the ceiling had collapsed, if they needed to send help. We didn't even feel it at all down here. We didn't know an earthquake had even happened. So no matter what happens on the tour today, it was looking pretty nice outside. It wasn't really raining even at all, so sorry to warn you guys about that. But this is the safest place you can be during any natural disaster, tornado, flood, or earthquake. This limestone also plays a key part in 2 of Kentucky's iconic industries. Now these should be the first 2 industries that you all think of when you think of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Does anybody have a guess about what 2 industries I'm talking about that depend on this limestone? Anybody? Bourbon. All right, we got a couple drinkers. They shouted out bourbon, and that is true. Bourbon distillers do tend to set up shop here in Kentucky because of this limestone. It has something in it called hard water from all the minerals that are in this rock. Bourbon distillers say that hard water makes their bourbons taste better than any bourbons in the world, and basically all bourbons in the world are distilled right here in our state. We have Maker's Mark, Kentucky Tavern, Kentucky Gentleman, Woodford Reserve, Jim Beam, Evan Williams, Wild Turkey. I could really go on and on. All bourbon is made here. If you're going to get a bottle of bourbon, I would recommend that it is a Kentucky bourbon. Also, horse owners like to set up shop here in Kentucky. If there's one thing more iconic than bourbon in Kentucky, it is horse racing. We have the Kentucky Derby, the oldest sporting event in North America. Horse owners like it for the same reasons. Lots of minerals in the rock. Also something in it called calcite that gives the horses extra calcium. The way that works is the soil sits on the rock. That in turn grows the grass. The horses eat the grass. You guys pretty much get the picture. If a horse is going down the stretch in the Kentucky Derby or any other horse race for that matter, if they are on a Kentucky horse, they feel like they have a good shot to win the race because Kentucky horses have the strong bones and all the minerals they need to win. So do you guys have any questions before we get moving along about limestone or geology or anything regarding the rock here in the mine? All right. We'll save those burning questions for a little bit later. I will be getting out again. At this point, we are going to be turning off the lights, so just a fair warning on that. It's going to start to look a lot more cave-like from this point forward.
There must be an automatic recording that he hits play when he doesn't.
As we all move through the cavern, you will notice water in a few places. This is due to the fact that every underground has water in it. 24 hours a day, we pump the water out of this cavern into the pond that you may have seen in the area where your car was parked. What you're looking at to the left is what we call the water wall. This is the same type of water that you might actually see in a cave like Mammoth Cave. Of course, this water flow has been since the last 60 or so years. What you see on the walls is the formation of what's called flowstones. Flowstones are created from the trickling of water off the sides of the wall. Stones are made up of calcium carbonate, aragonite, gypsum, and other cave minerals. There have been reports of stalactites in the cavern, unfortunately not in the area that we'll be traveling. Stalactites